Thank you so much for joining us on this week's Good News. Today we're sitting down with Tina over at the Ronald McDonald House, and she's here to share all the good that they are doing right now for our community. So, Tina, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at the Ronald McDonald House?
Yes. I've been with Ronald McDonald House for 8 years. I'm currently the development director and started as the finance director and just quickly evolved into this position, and I just do the communications, the web pages, the event planning, raising sponsorships, funds, crowdfunding, just community awareness for the house and our program, that the children and families that we serve. A lot of people don't know that even though they think we're in Johnson City, that we just serve Johnson City. We don't really serve Johnson City area. We serve all of our communities.
Yeah, that's true, because you're located, if I'm not mistaken, by the hospital,
correct,
by Johnson City Med Center, or Niswonger.
Yes. And
Niswonger has kids from all over the country really come to Niswonger because of how good of a hospital it is, which I've heard stories of people in Virginia and stuff having to come over. And I talked to someone actually just the other day that stayed. It's Amanda that works here. She actually stayed at the Ronald McDonald House a while back, if I'm not mistaken, and I think she was coming over from Virginia or somewhere, and was able to stay there because of some procedures that had to happen. And she was just like, "This is incredible."
56% of the population that we serve do come from Southwest Virginia.
Wow, that's crazy. That's awesome, though.
Yes.
And the Ronald McDonald House, for those who don't really know about the Ronald McDonald House, you all do so much more than just have a place to sleep. Can you tell us a little bit about, what all the Ronald McDonald House provides for our local community, but also for, anyone that needs it, really?
Yes. We have 10 bedrooms that we're licensed to serve at any given time. Of course, COVID has kind of put a damper on that, and we're at a reduced reservation rate right now just because of COVID and trying to keep everybody spread apart. We're in the middle of a remodel right now, too, so the elevator was completely crashed, and
oh, goodness.
If you're a mother that just had a C-section, that's hard to walk 3 flights of steps. So we do have the house closed this week just till we get that elevator repaired and make it easier for the families coming to stay. But normally we can house 10 families. Like you say, we don't just provide them a bedroom. They have a bedroom and their own private bathroom, so
that's awesome. They
can come and go as they please 24 hours a day. We give them a code. They come in the side doors. We provide them foods that they can fix their own breakfast, their own lunch, and then we keep milk in their refrigerators, cereal in their rooms, snacks in their rooms, things they can snack on all day. And typically either a local restaurant, or a community group such as a church or civic group will provide them a hot meal in the evenings. If we don't have a meal group that night, then we buy dinner for them, but we provide meals for them. We provide toiletries for them. A lot of times if they're coming, they don't know, it may be a mother that just suddenly went into labor or a child that got really sick. They're coming 3 hours away. They didn't even have time to pack clothes or a toothbrush. So we have slippers, we have toiletries or toothbrush or toothpaste. We also have laundry facilities, so when they are able to go home, the child's stable and able to go home and get clothes, they don't have to worry about that. They don't have to pay to wash their clothes. We provide everything they need to wash their clothes. Playrooms for the kids. We've got a reading library upstairs. We've got TV rooms for the families. Just about anything that you can think of at home, we try to provide for them. We can't provide everything, but we try to make them comfortable while they're there, especially since they're in such a hard situation in the hospital. They've been sitting at the hospital all day with their child. They want to come back and they want to relax. We try to provide that home environment for them just to make them feel comfortable. And not only that, what I say is our biggest asset is we provide a listening ear to them too. We enjoy sitting down with the families and listening to their good days with their babies. We want to love on them when it's hard times with their babies, just giving them the encouragement they need just to move forward and take it one day at a time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's amazing what you all are doing right now, because I love what you said there, because, when someone is, like, if they're rushed to the hospital and they're leaving, they're driving, 3-4 hours away to get to the hospital, they sometimes will forget shampoo, conditioner, toothbrush, clothes, and not having to worry about that, being able to focus on their child and not have to worry about, what are we going to eat? oh, I forgot, shampoo. I forgot clothes. What am I,
Right.
oh, what are we going to do? They don't have to worry about that. They can focus on loving their kids. They can focus on taking care of them and just making sure that they're there for them. And you all are just like, hey, we'll take care of the rest. And that's amazing. And something that you said there too is you provide like a dinner for them, or a community group or church will do that. And I've heard of churches that'll partner with them and take a day or a week and just be like, hey, we're going to provide dinner all week. And they'll, either, bring it to them, prepare it, or, sometimes they'll do like a gift card and stuff like that to help them as well. So if you're a part of a community group right now and they're looking for areas to serve, especially, even if you're, trying to be a little bit cautious because of, COVID and everything, this is still a great way to do it, because you don't have to really be super hands-on and be in a crowd or anything. You can, fix a dinner and just drop it off. So how, if someone's listening right now, they're a part of a community group or church, how do they, contact you to be like, hey, I would love to, feed for a week or whatever?
They can either email our house director, Leah Holt, or any of us. We'll get the message to whoever, or they can just call our house number and just let us know they want to provide a meal. And like you say, it doesn't mean that they have to bring it to the house. They can do a gift card. Like we've even had DoorDash or pizza delivery.
Yeah.
So that's super easy for them to do. They can order it online and just make sure it's sent to the house. But our families really appreciate it. And sometimes not only just from the emotional aspect of it and they're overwhelmed, but for the financial aspect of it. When you're that far away from home and you're not able to work because you need to be with your child, you may not have the funds to have your own meal.
Yeah.
So to be able to have that provided for you has been a blessing in itself.
Definitely. And we'll link to the phone number and the email address and everything in the description of this video. So if you're listening right now and you would like to be a part of this, just come over to wcqr.org, and then you can scroll down a little bit on the front page. We'll have all the good news interviews there, so you can click on that and see all the information to be a part of what the Ronald McDonald House is doing right now. Now, I'd love to hear some stories. You don't have to go into details or names or anything, but I'd love to hear some stories that you have of, parents or kids' lives that have really just been touched because of what the Ronald McDonald House is doing.
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because a couple weeks ago we just had a family, and of course I wasn't there, but I hated that I wasn't there that day to see her, but they came and stayed with us 6 years ago. She went into very, very early labor. And actually, she's had the smallest baby, 14 ounces, that we have ever had parents staying in our house. And it was touch and go for a long time with the baby that small and being born that early. It was highs and lows for months. Every holiday that we could possibly think of, Thanksgiving, Christmas, she was there with us, her and her husband. So they spent all their holidays with us. We tried to make their holidays special because they're not able to be home with their family. They could go home for a little while, but their baby was here. They wanted to be here. So we tried to make the holiday special for them. And we always provide holiday meals because we're open 24 hours a day. The office may not be open, but somebody's in the house 24 hours a day with the families. Yeah. So we tried holidays, weekends, and tried to make that special for them as well. But they stayed with us for months. So her family continues to give back to the house. And now that their little girl is 5 years old, they're teaching her at a young age to give back. Wow. So she had called me and asked me a few months ago what could she bring, and they tried to do it around her birthday. And here the little girl comes, she looks like she's just super small, but she's so big compared to what she was when she was 14 ounces, and carrying this big snack basket and saying, I brought this for your families. Wow. And so that's what she's telling her. I want her to understand this is such a special place. They've done so much for us. We want to give back. And now she's so super excited when she gets to come back and bring stuff, because she knows she's making a difference for somebody else. I mean, that's the kind of stories that we normally have. Most of the people that we have are super, super grateful for the experience, and especially if they're long-term. Yeah. If they come a day or two, they may not get the full experience. But it may feel like a little bit of a hotel to them. Yeah. But if they've been there a long enough time and they get to interact with the staff and other families, and that's really important too. That's one of those aspects during COVID that they've not been able to experience, is just being able to be in connection with other families, because we're trying to keep them separated. But when they are able to sit around the dinner table and have conversations. I mean, a lot of these families will go home and they're still in communication with each other 10 years later, just
Wow.
because they met at the Ronald McDonald House under the same circumstances.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. I love that. Now you said long term. How long do families, sometimes stay at the Ronald McDonald House?
Sometimes 3 months or longer.
Wow.
Typically, our average stay is about 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
Mainly what we serve, just because the need in the area is NICU.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's more siblings that are in the house and the children are in the hospital, but we also serve St. Jude.
Okay.
So we do occasionally have some St. Jude kids in the house. But normally it's premature
Mm-hmm.
babies that is the most that's in the NICU or peds, and that's normally what we serve. So it's normally the parents in the house, so they're there just for the duration from the baby, and it can be. We've had some 24-weekers, and 24 weeks is about the earliest that a baby can survive, and we've actually had several of those that were born at 24 weeks, so they've been there till they were at least 40 weeks.
Wow. That's amazing, though, that during that time, especially because right after you have a new child, it's really difficult on the mother, especially when they're born that early, because the baby has to stay there. You can't take them home. You can't, they can't leave because they need that extra time to develop and really get to where they can survive. So being able to be right beside the hospital, you leave your baby for, the night, but you're right there. So you can just walk right back to the hospital and not having to worry about food, not having to worry about all that stuff, can really lift a weight off of a new parent. Especially, I couldn't imagine being your first child. I mean, I have 3 kids of my own. And the first child is always most terrifying anyways, because you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You don't know what to expect. And then if it's a premature child, now you just have everything else thrown at you. You don't know what to expect already. And now all this is thrown at you and you're like, I don't know what is going on. So not having to worry about that is pretty amazing. Now, the Ronald McDonald House does do a lot of, they have volunteers. A lot of your staff is volunteers. So maybe someone listening right now wants to be a part of it. Maybe they're like, hey, I love what you're doing. Or like the story you shared, and they were a part of the Ronald McDonald House because they needed it, but now they want to be able to give back. How does someone get involved in serving, or even maybe donating to the Ronald McDonald House?
You can go to our website under the volunteer tab.
Yeah.
There's a volunteer application that you can fill in online. Comes straight to our inbox. Our house director reviews those. I'll be in touch with you. There's multiple ways that people can volunteer, though. We need house volunteers that can come in and help do some cleaning. I mean, we've got 3 levels, so you can imagine there's a lot of cleaning and tidying up that needs to be done. Yard work, if you're interested in doing those kind of things. And we do have groups people that like to volunteer that just want to come in and make meals for families. Mm-hmm. And we do have a couple that come in, and there's a few days on the calendar that we don't have meals for the night. They come in and prepare meals in advance, and we'll freeze those and thaw them out and serve it before. So it's home-cooked meals, which is really what they need. I mean, they need any kind of meals. It's fine, but to volunteer, they come in and prepare meals in advance, so it would be a home-cooked meal. But there's multiple ways that you can volunteer. We have events all the time that we need volunteers for. We got a golf tournament coming up that somebody wants to come out and volunteer at Johnson City Country Club to just do whatever that needs to be done. That would be great. But all that information is on our website under the volunteer tab.
Okay.
If they want to donate, there's a big box button on our website that says donate. And it gives, there's personal stories from families on our website that are really nice to see.
Yeah.
We actually have some couple that are on our board that's actually used Ronald McDonald Houses before, and that's why they wanted to be on our board, as the way to help back. So we've got one of their stories on our website. And
that's amazing.
It's really neat.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Now with the Ronald McDonald House, you said you had a golf tournament coming up. When is that? What are the dates to that?
September 20th.
Oh, wow.
Monday, September the 20th.
That's right around the corner.
Yeah. We just finished a 4th of July fundraiser.
Okay.
But September 20th is our golf tournament, and it's our 25th golf tournament.
Wow.
And this is actually our 25th year of being open, so we're actually having a birthday party.
Wow, that's awesome.
In October 23rd. Because we opened our doors in October of 96. So we're having a huge little birthday party, have inflatables for kids, and you don't have to have stayed at the house to come. So if anybody wanted to drop by, and we'll have a little wish list of items that like typical birthday parties, these are our wish list things of,
Mhm.
small things for our kitchen or for our families that
Yeah.
somebody would like to bring as a birthday gift, that would be much appreciated.
Okay, awesome. So golf tournament in September. What was the date again? September
20th.
20th. Okay, so do they register on the website as well for that?
They contact me.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes.
awesome. So we'll put the link to your email
Yes.
and everything in there. So if you want to golf and support an amazing cause, you can go to our website. Again, it's wcqr.org. Scroll down a little bit. This video will be like the top one on there, so you can just click on it and register for the golf tournament.
Yes.
To play golf, but to also support an amazing cause. So that
Yes.
would be amazing. Now with you've been there for 8 years, you said?
Yes.
And you went from finance director to communications
Development.
or development director. Sorry. That's a pretty big change right there. That's, finance, which I couldn't imagine doing finance stuff because that's too many numbers for me, to doing the development, which is a lot of, social media and advertisement. How did that work out? How did that change happen?
When I first came, it was just our executive director and the house director. The finance director had left to take a position elsewhere, and then the development director was actually on maternity leave.
Okay.
So there was nobody to help me do. I mean, I knew how to do financials, but I didn't know all the specific reports for RMHC. Was kind of self-taught doing that. So I also had to help. We had a huge event coming up that was one of our major fundraisers, so I had to help with that because we didn't have anybody in that position yet. So I discovered that I was really good at that.
Yeah.
And I liked being out talking to people and getting items. It just made me feel like I was doing more for the house because I'm out raising money for these people that so desperately need assistance. It was just like it wasn't anything that I'd ever done before, but it was just one of those things that you're like, oh, this is really where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. That's
so
awesome.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, it goes with nonprofits too, because you wear so many different hats when you work for a nonprofit because, it's a nonprofit. There's no profit there.
Right.
So you have to wear, it's like, oh, I would do this, this, and that, and this. So
there's days
awesome.
you might come to the house and see us in shorts and a T-shirt because we cleaning out sheds or we're cleaning rooms. If you don't have somebody coming in to do those things, then or you have a lot that needs to be done that day, you just pitch in and do it. So, you never know what you're going to do one day to the next, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Now, you did share one story. Do you have any other stories that you would be willing to share that you know off the top of your head? I love hearing stories because it really connects you with it because you can talk about, what you do all the time, but when you hear someone's story of like, oh my goodness, that really that's incredible. That what they're doing helped them so much. It just really hits home more, in my opinion.
We actually had a family that she had actually had to use us twice.
Oh.
Her first baby was born really early. She stayed with us for a long time, and then 5 or 6 years later, when her son was born, she came back and had to stay with us again, and they didn't know whether the son was going to make it or not. It was that serious.
Wow.
So it was once again, she was very familiar with the house. Nothing had really changed. Staff was still the same, and she just felt so comfortable. She actually was we try to have a family come to, we had a St. Patrick's Day bash at the time, either at Meadowview or at the Millennium Center, and she actually was our little guest speaker at the event, and she still calls occasionally and says, what can we do for you? And it's not only her, it's her family, her church. We had a radiothon, used to have a radiothon in Clintwood, Virginia, and he's since retired, so we don't have that radiothon anymore, but so many families would call in and say, I stayed there 14 years ago. You may not remember me, but I stayed there 14 years ago, and I want to donate some money. Or one family in particular, the child was really, really sick and went home on a trach and doing so well now. They never expected him to walk, but he's walking, and so many donations came in just in honor of that child. I mean, people all the time will come back to us and say, that you all were such a blessing to us, and we don't know what we would do without you. But we are the ones that feel like we're blessed because we are here. We get to see these families from the beginning to the end. They bring their babies back year after year. So we feel like we are the ones that are blessed to be there to help people in their time of need, because there is a huge need for this in the area. Typically, in normal years, we have about 1,000 people run through our house.
Wow. In a year?
In a year.
Wow.
So 10 people at a time. We're not always full. There's certain times of the year, and it seems like holidays were more full than others. For whatever reason, I'm not sure. Babies are born closer to the holidays, I guess.
Yeah.
But we do have over 1,000 people run through the house. And sometimes if they're short term, we always try to be a blessing to all of them. Sometimes we may not remember all of them because they're only there a day or two, but they are all really appreciative. And there's some that say, we only stayed one night, or you were on a wait list, so we didn't get to stay, but you do such a great thing and you offer to help us, so we want to help you. So it's even people that have never stayed at the house, and you never know when you're going to have the need to stay there. I mean, anybody's lives can change in a blink of an eye, and we're just blessed to be here to help those people when they need us.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so thankful for you all, for what you are doing in our community and beyond our community as well, just for so many people in their time of need, especially when you have a child going through a difficult situation as well. So thank you again for everything you're doing and the sacrifices that you make to really make sure the Ronald McDonald House thrives. So just really, really appreciate what you all are doing.
Thank you.
Definitely.